Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Sarah Wong. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. COVID infections in Hong Kong stay in four-digit territory, while mass testing continues in Macau, where another 15 cases were found. Will state leaders from Beijing visit Hong Kong? Latest official memo sheds light on the matter. And analysts warn of a fragmented France after President Emmanuel Macron failed to secure an outright parliamentary majority, while his rivals made gains. It was another day of COVID infections exceeding 1,000 as local cases continue to inch back up. But health authorities reiterated the amount of deaths or patients with serious symptoms remains stable. Wong reports.
For the sixth consecutive day, Hong Kong saw a daily COVID caseload in the thousands. Of the 1,327 infections reported today, 141 were imported, while the rest were locally transmitted. There was also one additional COVID-related death, a 53-year-old man with colorectal cancer. Local schools reported 408 new cases, 108 of which came from this morning, while the rest were tested over the weekend or beyond. 6 schools have been asked to suspend face-to-face lessons after small clusters emerged from their classrooms. They include Chai Wan Kok Catholic Primary School in Tsuen Wan, which saw 8 pupils from 2 different classes infected. St. Stephen's College in Southern District and Wickham Abbey School in Aberdeen were also ordered to suspend in-person classes. Meanwhile, 4 more suspected cases of the BA.2.12.1 subvariant were discovered. All but 1 tested positive in quarantine and can be tracked to previously confirmed cases. The remaining person works at the Changsha control area, where 7 staffers had earlier tested positive. Sarah Ho from the Hospital Authority made it clear today that hospitals in the city are well prepared for more COVID patients. But she added there are no signs the number of people falling seriously ill or dying will surge. Wong, HKIBC.
Macau added 15 new cases to its COVID tally after 21 were detected yesterday. Mass testing of over 600,000 residents in the gambling hub continued as it fights its first outbreak in 8 months. Neighboring Zhuhai also saw 3 imported cases from Sunday, 2 of which came from Macau and 1 from Hong Kong. The mainland city imposed new travel restrictions for Macau, including a traffic suspension for most vehicles leaving the Hengqin Cooperation Zone. Earlier, Zhuhai had already asked people entering from Macau to go through 1 week of quarantine, plus 7 days of self-observation. The government is expected to announce in the coming days whether leaders from Beijing will be visiting Hong Kong for the Handover celebrations. In the latest development, the city's elite who are invited to the festivities have been told to self-isolate for 1 week. Mei Xin reports.
It is customary for state leaders to visit Hong Kong every 5 years when a new chief executive is sworn in on July the 1st, the SAR's Handover anniversary. COVID, however, has made things complicated this year, especially with a recent rebound in local infections. In the strongest sign yet that President Xi Jinping will visit the city, the business and political elites invited to the festivities are now asked to enter a so-called closed loop for 1 week. In a memo from the Home Affairs Bureau, guests were told not to go anywhere other than their workplace from Thursday. They must also not use public transport and conduct daily PCR tests. Even their family members and drivers need daily testing, but presumably through RAT kits. On the 8th and final day, all guests will have to quarantine in a government-arranged hotel. Bookings for 2 hotels near the Convention and Exhibition Center in Wan Chai, where the events will be held, were closed in the days leading to July the 1st. The city's sole non-establishment lawmaker Teck Chi-yun said he has not received an invitation. Among those invited are Michael Tian, who was happy with the arrangements so far.
I think people were expecting that there will have to be a 7-day or 5-day quarantine, so it's now down to only 1 day in the hotel, but the rest of that week is pretty much like a home quarantine, except that you are allowed to go via private transport to your place of work. So that probably makes it easier for all of us, and we can still continue with our electoral duties without any kind of interruption.
Security has been ramped up around Golden Bauhinia Square in recent days. Police Commissioner Raymond Siu had previously said the force will mobilize all manpower for the massive operation. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Tens of thousands of elderly people will receive bigger government payments from September under revised rules for the old age living allowance. Depending on eligibility criteria, current applicants either receive $2,920 or $3,915. About 50,000 elderly people on lower payouts will be moved to the higher tier, meaning an additional $995 per month. That's because the asset limits for the two schemes have been aligned. $374,000 for single applicants and $568,000 for married couples. A concerned group insisted early intervention is key to prevent obesity, and one way of doing it is to seek medical help. The suggestion came after a survey revealed that more than 1/3 of Hong Kongers picked up weight during the COVID pandemic. Isaac Lee reports.
Has your waistline been bulging during the past year or two? Don't worry, you're probably not alone. And researchers seemed to have found the cause. In an online survey, the Association for the Study of Obesity asked 559 adults for their body weight in late 2019 and last month. More than 1/3 of the respondents reported weight gain during the period, which coincided with the COVID pandemic. On average, they were 10% heavier than before. The association believed a lack of outdoor physical activities was the main factor behind the trend, as a similar proportion of interviewees spent less time exercising. They were either worried about contracting the virus or disincentivized by the mask-on requirements. 1 in 5 respondents also felt their dietary habits were negatively affected and snacked more than usual. The group urged people to seek help when their body mass index, or BMI, reaches 23, indicating they are borderline overweight.
Help can range from just a simple education that you can find on the internet to going to a professional team so that you can have some advice from doctors or nurses or dietitian as to what you can do in your lifestyle to change to help to control the weight. The time to start to seek help should be as early as possible so that we can tackle this problem at a less severe state.
She added that regular exercise and low-calorie food choices such as lean meat and vegetables help prevent obesity. Isaac Lee, HKIBC.
Turning overseas, French President Emmanuel Macron's reform agenda was dealt a major blow as he lost control of the parliament. His governing alliance won just 42% of the seats at the National Assembly, while rival parties across the spectrum made gains. Jean-Luc Mélenchon may have lost out on the French presidency, but the left-wing heavyweight is somehow solidifying his grip on power. The 70-year-old led a broad coalition of the hard left, the Socialists and the Greens to the biggest opposition force in the National Assembly. Running on a joint ticket, the group known as NUPS secured 131 out of 577 seats, shattering hopes for President Emmanuel Macron to form an absolute majority. Mélenchon hailed the result as a complete failure for Macron's government and vowed to bring bold reforms to the country. Macron's centrist alliance Ensemble remains the biggest bloc in parliament, but only managed to win 245 or 42% of the seats. That means the first French leader to win re-election in 20 years will now have to govern with compromise. Until now, no president has failed to secure a ruling parliamentary majority since the 1980s. Prime Minister Elizabeth Borne said her government would reach out to potential partners to form a working coalition. On top of threats from the left, Macron's political standing is also challenged by the rising momentum for the right. Populist leader Marine Le Pen saw her National Rally party rise to the third largest bloc with 89 seats, up from just 8. Le Pen, who was twice defeated by Macron for the top job, praised her party for making her rival a minority president. As party leaders traded bars, analysts cautioned against the paralyzing effect of a hung parliament, which could result in political uncertainty unseen in France for a long time. Hong Kong stocks kicked off the week on a positive note as a late rally in property firms offset earlier losses in mainland tech giants. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index closed up 88 points. Top 10 active stocks: Alibaba down 10 cents, Tencent up $1.40, and JD.com down $6.80. Meituan up 30 cents. Sinuk down 38 cents and Tracker Fund up 6 cents. Ford is trading against Hong Kong dollar. Euro is trading at 8.25. British pound at 9.62. Canadian dollar at 6.04 and Australian dollar 5.48. Over to the UK market, FTSE 100 is up 87 points. Finally tonight, a new experience is in store for visitors at the Hong Kong Palace Museum, which opens its doors to the public next week. They can enjoy 5 digital works of art created by a Baptist University professor who blended traditional artifacts with modern technology. Joanna Ho went to have a look.
The latest addition to Hong Kong's cultural scene will feature 5 new media art pieces. Dreamscape of the Qianlong Emperor, the Ancestral Hall and Imperial Portraits, Flying Mythological Horses, Lenticular Procession of Tribute Horses, and 8 interactive horses will be on display in the Hong Kong Palace Museum, which opens next month. They were created by Jeffrey Shaw, Chair Professor of the Academy of Visual Arts at Baptist University, and his team. This is Shaw's studio at the Baptist University. The video projected on the screen behind me demonstrates one of his works, in which the horses can interact with members of the audience who come close to the censors. The white-on-black digital artwork took cues from the Qing Dynasty masterpiece, 8 Horses, painted by Italian missionary Giuseppe Castiglione in the 18th century. Instead of projecting still images, the horses on the screen can move as if they are interacting with human and other horses. Another piece, Dreamscape of the Qianlong Emperor, also engages with members of the audience. Visitors lie down on a couch to watch the emperor's dream about his deceased wife. Shaw says he wants to create a dialogue between the past and the present, as well as between the artifacts and the audience.
I think in general, museums today, if they are to be contemporary, even if they are museums of the past, museum talking about history, they have to engage new media. They have to engage the language that people are using today. The literacy of today is moving images.
Shaw said after overcoming technological challenges, his wish is for visitors to enjoy his work. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
On to the weather now. Sunny periods and isolated showers tomorrow. Temperatures range between 28 and 32 degrees. Brace for a heat spell later this week. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Monday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Sarah Wong. Thanks for watching. Good night.